Welcome to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a
What's
light
your
on
story?
incredible. What does accessibility mean to you?
What's your mission? Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I'm your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a power wheelchair user. I'm the Community Relations Manager at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and trial attorney, focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today on accessiBe Spotlight Sessions, we're joined by Ashley Pope, the president of Autism Society Ventura County. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to have you as a guest, Ashley, and let's jump right into it. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I live in Ventura, California. It's Central California, and I'm 33 years old. I have a 10-year-old son with autism. Professionally, I work as a membership development manager for Ventura Chamber of Commerce, and so I'm really involved with the business community. I've owned a couple of businesses, most notably a spice and tea store downtown Ventura that really got me involved in the community. And so, yeah, just really engaged, involved, and I love volunteering and being out in Ventura.
Thank you for sharing that. And then would love to learn a little bit more about Autism Society Ventura County. Tell us more about.
Autism Society Ventura County is an affiliate of Autism Society of America. It's an organization that has been around since 1994. So we have been serving our community for a long time. We do programs and we offer a lot of resources like support groups and informational seminars, as well as advocacy. And we train advocates, so self-advocates and parents of individuals with disabilities, really could be any disability, to learn how to read political agendas like city council and county supervisor, school board agendas, where they can have a more grassroots impact. So there's a lot of different offerings that we have here in the community, and seems like we're growing them all the time.
That's awesome. And what kind of motivated you to become a part of the foundation?
Yeah, so when my son was first diagnosed, he was diagnosed at 3. And I was a younger mom. I was about 25 when he was diagnosed. And it was just such a surreal experience, in that it really kind of knocked me off, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And what does this look like going forward? And I was able to find my way through Autism Society and talking to other adults who have autism even. I met Carly, the president of Autism Society Ventura County, at the Ventura County Fair. And she was sharing her story with me that she had autism or has autism and what she was able to accomplish in her life. And I realized, like, oh my gosh, everything I know about autism is not everything to know about autism. And I just was hooked. I jumped right in and I started learning about all of the different, not only resources available, but everything that's possible. And I pretty much instantly became an advocate for others and an advocate that the world needs more, and we need to be more accepting and inclusive for individuals with disabilities. I think you don't see that until you see it, until you love someone with a disability or until you yourself have a disability. It's really easy to just not have a clue what kind of challenges are out there and what kind of change needs to happen. And once your eyes are open to it, it's like you can't not see it or be aware of those things that need to happen.
That's so true. And it's like you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And until you have the right conversations, meet the right people, and make sure you put yourself out there, it's like it's just you're holding yourself back from like the true kind of picture and world, and you're only seeing half of the picture, maybe even just pieces of the puzzle. I know for me, I've been injured now 18 years since my spinal cord injury. And what I've learned over those 18 years is that I'm always going to be a mentor to others, to teach, but I'm also going to be a mentee. there's always so much more to learn from the community. And society changes, technology changes, medicine, whatever you're going to say, like the world changes. And as long as you're having the right conversations and raising awareness as a group, that we become that much stronger.
Absolutely. It's
And
very true.
I would love to know, like, more from you, like a memorable moment that's had a kind of a, or story that's had like a long lasting impact on you through Autism Ventura.
Yeah, there are so many. I consider it such a blessing to have been able to connect with so many parents and individuals with autism over the years and change the perception of what autism is. I remember when I was first dealing with the diagnosis and so overwhelmed, I would tell people, my son has just been diagnosed with autism, and they would say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And at the time, I didn't think that much of it. I just be like, "Thank you, I'm so overwhelmed." But as time went on and I realized autism is not something to be sorry for, you don't need to apologize. I realized that I can begin to answer a different way. There was one person early on that I was talking to my son. I said, "I have a son with autism." And she said, "That is so awesome. Like, congratulations. That's so cool." And I just felt like, oh, like that's a different response. And I really like that. So now when somebody comes up to me and says, "Oh, I have a child on a spectrum," or "I have an autistic son," I say, "That's so cool." You know, I'm sure that they are absolutely amazing, because they are. It's like every person has something to offer in this world. And I think that should be the response. We don't need to apologize for anyone else. Um, so I love that. But one example was I was at a resource fair, and it was a fair for all kinds of different things. So it wasn't just autism. And this little girl came up to me and asked for one of the little toys that we were giving away, and I gave one to her. And the son, or not the son, the dad had walked up behind her and was like, "She's on the spectrum," like kind of pointing, like she has autism. And I said, "Do you know what autism is?" And she said, "No." And then I said, "Oh, autism is so cool. One day, if you ever meet someone with autism, you have to know that they are just the most incredible, smart, kind, empathetic people, and especially little girls with autism. They are so powerful and they can do anything in the world." And she was like, "Oh, wow, I want to have autism." And she was probably like 4 or 5. She was really young. Um, the dad kind of looked at me like, oh, he didn't know what to do in that moment. He just looked at me like, "Wow, you really just kind of put me in that place where she's going to be going home saying like, what's autism? What's autism?" But I've never felt like so proud. I was like, this is perfect. I just took that opportunity and ran with it. And I don't know how the dad feels about that moment to this day, but I hope that that little girl, as she learns more and more about autism, she's able to remember that somebody thought it was awesome. And as she learns more about her diagnosis, that sticks with her. I even went so far to say sometimes, especially girls with autism, they can have, some problems making friends or not see everything the same way as everyone else. And they cannot always understand. In class they might have some different kind of issues, and so I just went really in depth. And I think that even at that very young age, she was maybe able to draw some lines. And yeah, maybe it's a little naive to believe that it will stick with her, but I hope it does, and I hope it sticks with that dad as well.
These are the important conversations, and the earlier we can have these conversations, the quicker we can change the narrative, the perspectives, the stigmas, the misconceptions, you name it. Like even with my daughter being in kindergarten, like having been able to reach out to her kindergarten class, and like sometimes they come up to you and they're like, "What's wrong with your legs?" I'm like, "Nothing's wrong with my legs, but I had a spinal cord injury." And it allows you to have conversations about kind of what are our unique abilities, our unique disabilities, however you want to push it out there to the world, but having the right conversations to teach that we're at the end of the day, we're all people. all here to be a part of this beautiful world and to be a part of everybody's lives, and we can do that. But thank you for sharing that story of that's really powerful.
Of
And
course.
what first comes to mind for you when you hear the word accessibility?
Accessibility, it's just creating a world that is inclusive to all. And it does take effort to make things and places and jobs accessible. I think that's what comes to mind is just something that's very misunderstood. When people think accessibility, they think of a ramp, or I mean, I think that's what most people think of when they think of ADA. Even they think of how difficult stairs might be, and clearly that's very important. But it's so much more of a culture. It's not about just building a thing and moving on. It's about looking at every aspect of this beautiful world that's meant for all of us, and how can we create a place where everyone can live their fullest life.
That is a great answer, and I, I yes, thank you for saying that. And when it comes to being a parent with an autistic child, can you kind of share kind of what you wish people knew more about autism and especially autistic children?
Definitely. I wish that the world was more kind to definitely to children and really made those investments in education and in those kids early on. Saw the same potential that people see in a typical 5 year old as they do in an autistic 5 year old or any other disability that might arise. Um, I wish people would see how criminal it is to write off a child, any child, as less able to meet their dreams or their fullest potential. Um, One good thing is that I feel like kids have become so much more accepting. I do think that there's a next level of kindness and empathy coming out of, I guess it would be Gen Z and younger. There's just a different level of understanding and kindness there. I hope that that's something that we can begin to see reflected in policy and in spaces and schools, that we are acknowledging the potential of every child.
I you've been saying so many great things today, Ashley. I love your voice and your mindset and your approach to disability, especially. I'm feeling it more and more as being a father, and like, what can we do better to start, at a younger age? Like, so often we're just talking with adults and trying to have real conversations, changing perspectives, but like, if we can do it early on, it's like it becomes that much easier of a conversation. Um,
Mhm.
and when it comes to the business world, I would love to know kind of what your thoughts are on what we can do to get like the business world to be more inclusive and accessible. I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that the business world is getting there, especially like I said earlier, I'm in California, so we do kind of lead this space in terms of policy on inclusion and just being, I think, one of the better places in the world to live for people with disabilities and any other kind of difference in their life. But I will say one thing that needs to happen is we need to get away from the mindset of all people should be able to do all things. We used to see that even in the most kind of simple workspaces that say like a restaurant. You don't want just a server, just a bus boy, or just a dishwasher. It was like we're going to bring everyone in and everyone's going to be cross trained to be able to do every role. And that's just the way that business should be. And we've started to take steps towards um, it's okay to have like one dishwasher, one busboy, and one, somebody can come in and just be a cook, and somebody can come in and just do one thing, and that's okay. I think that's actually really important to making a more inclusive space, and not every person has to have the ability or the experience to check off every box. And that's a really easy example to give for restaurant industry, but really across every sector. We can look at tech, we can look at manufacturing, we can look at anything, administration building. And just not every person has to have every single box checked to be productive and to give their very best. I also think it's important to recognize that individuals with disabilities make great employees. It's not charity. You're not doing a good deed by hiring a person with a disability any more than you're doing a good deed by hiring the community in general. There is a trade associated here. And when individuals with disabilities are hired, they make great employees and they contribute to the success of that business. So any more than you would give someone a chance who doesn't have any experience in your type of business, you can give someone a chance who has a disability and doesn't have any type of experience in that business. And you might find that they're the best employee that you have, just due to their loyalty. In the case of autism, there's obviously attention to detail, the ability to hone in on a single task and do it for 8 hours with no complaints. There's so many reasons to hire a person with autism, and there's just as many reasons to hire a person with any other disability. The loyalty and the work ethic as well. If somebody's showing up, wants to work, then that's a good sign that they would make a great employee.
Ashley, thank you so much for your time, your voice, your perspective, insights. You've been an amazing guest on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, but thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you, Josh. It was great to chat with you.
And to all of our guests, thank you so much for being here with us to the end on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to follow us at accessiB_community. And until next time, thank you for being on this journey with us. Take care, everyone.